Arsenal versus Tigres. Oh shit.
Situation, right? I'm not fucking roasting him for that, but it's the projection. It's the fucking hypocrisy. You're saying my dick doesn't work when you've already told the internet that your dick doesn't work. What is this? What the fuck is this? And look, here's another thing, right? Dude, when I'm hanging out with my fucking girl, like, I'm having the time of my fucking life, okay? Like, obviously, she's into, like, you know, like I said, like, the TikTok, the fucking gaming stuff, or whatever, like, current music, but also, she's into, like, classic fucking rock and roll, like, some old shit. Like, I put on some fucking Otis Redding. I love that shit. She loves that shit. She's into old movies, thinks acting was way better in the past. I think the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? We have so much fucking in common that it's insane.
It's lame that you even have to like go into like detail about why you like this chick. I know that you like this girl. Like I know from just personally talking to you on personal conversations. I know that you do. I know that you do. I can tell you're a lot happier with her and whatever.
Is it working?
Money. I'm sorry, dude. Like, dude, some guys go to the gym and they work out so bad. They do that because they're trying to attract women to them, right? But, dude, have you ever talked to girls? So many girls don't even fucking like that. They're not even fucking looking for that.
In Mexico,
they're looking for something completely fucking different. They're attracted to success.
Success is attractive. You know what I mean? Success is attractive. Like anybody who doesn't see that or can't wrap their head around that is just in denial, or they're, I don't know, they're just tripping.
So go to the gym, work on that fucking six-pack, get those packs up. I'm gonna fucking work on getting this fucking piggy bank all the way up to the brim. Like, you know what I mean?
It's burned into our brains, like, fucking primally. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're meant to provide and fucking, you know what I mean? Girls are obviously naturally going to be attracted to somebody who can take care of them, and they don't have to worry with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's just so much more than that shit. Like, I don't know. I love hanging out with my girls.
And listen, it isn't all, I mean, you haven't really been in the fucking dating scene a whole lot, like, for a very long time.
No, dude, and dude, this is such a, like, imagine this travesty that took place, right?
How was it offside?
In a relationship for 13 years, all right? I become
My
single,
God,
and then
bro.
I find someone that I, like, fucking hit it off with. Like, literally zero.
Fuck you, Carlos, bro.
My girl hates drama. Like, literally just ignores it and doesn't even fucking talk. Like, she just doesn't want. Like, she saw the Trisha video, right? And she's like, I don't even want to. Oh yeah, Trisha fucking aired her out. Tried to say that her brain isn't developed and all kinds of shit, like a YouTube video fucking aired her out.
I mean, the odds of this girl being smarter and more developed than Trisha Paytas are fucking, you know what I mean?
So
how is that offside? How?
The video, and she's
oh
like,
my God, bro.
She's like, what is wrong with Trisha? Like, she
They're
knows
robbing me,
Trisha.
bro.
She's like, what is wrong with her? Like, it's just, this is all, it's not even, none of this is based on reality.
I guess that's my question. What does this girl think about all this? You just laughing at it?
Oh, she really does not give a flying fuck. She's not really into the internet that much. She'll go on TikTok or whatever, but she's like she's not really in this world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Dude, we went to the movies, right? We went to the movies, and she like knows nobody. Like she knows who Steve-O is, right? Like that's about it. She doesn't know who FaZe Banks is. She doesn't know who Rice Gum is. She doesn't know who Alyssa Violet is. She doesn't know anyone, right? But we went to the movies, and there was a Fall Guys poster, and I'm like, yo, I said to my girl, I'm like, yo, you know, my friend, he's actually in that movie. She's like, oh yeah, who? She's like, Ninja, and she's like, wait, I might know him. Does that guy got blue hair and play Fortnite? So the only person she knows of my friends
Fall Guys movie?
Just had like the biggest fucking blow up of like the last 5 years on the
yeah.
Oh, the Fall Guys
status type shit. Logan Paul type shit.
Like she had no idea who Ethan Klein was because I was like, yeah, this guy's fucking running his mouth, and she's like, who is that?
Dude, what is his deal? Like he is obsessed with us. It's weird.
Absolutely.
It's so weird.
Absolutely. But you know, they all fucked up. Trisha, Ethan, just so you know, you aired this out, Keemstar's dating a 20-year-old, and you have a mostly female audience, all right? My DMs on Instagram is nothing but thirsty girls, right? If this relationship doesn't work out, you have set me up forever. Your fucking fans are in my fucking DMs nonstop. You like basically put a big fucking ad out there that Keemstar's single or whatever, has a new girlfriend, and dude, your fans are coming for it. Like it's unbelievable. You worked against yourselves. I promise you that.
It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me that a clip pop up. It always, anytime this dude has a take, like, I mean, even with
let's fucking go!
Ripping into all this game.
Fucking go,
like,
bro.
All those fucking people playing slots and shit. I've done it on like Twitch and shit. Ripping into it, and he's got like.
Look at me, bro. Look at me, nigga.
He's done brand deals with.
Yes. With, like, he's a hypocrite.
He's done all that shit himself. It's like.
Why does it say gold, bro? It wasn't my Lonado, bro.
And sponsorship, like what are you saying?
Damn.
It's just, it's so pathetic at this point.
Well, they see my Lonado, but like I want like
audience is because he has.
It just says gold.
He's a T channel. He's fueled by drugs, talking about other people. Like I said before.
Oh, give me that! Give me that! Oh!
He sits in his dungeon all day and just talks about what everybody else is doing.
They fucking suck, bro. They fucking suck, nigga. Fuck tigres, nigga. They fucking suck, bro. Yeah, I see my name on that jersey, bro.
Maybe it's just cause like we might be a little biased. You know what I mean? Just because he's
no, it's not. It's not that I'm biased.
He's a scumbag cocksucker. Like he's a fucking rat.
Oh, I want to listen to a No Voice.
No. I'm not biased, and the people listening to me right now will agree with me 100%. All right. Back in the day,
the fact that he starts talking about you having a little dick and shit, like, bro, that's funny. Like, what is he doing? It's just funny that he's doing that.
It's just stupid. It's so pathetic. It's funny. That's why I was laughing.
What's that nigga's
these are the worst jokes I've ever heard. Oh, you got a little dick. Like, what is this? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe that's what it is. It is like his demeanor and his like. His like I don't know, just like the way he does shit, like he'll just latch on to something like the FaZe Blanks thing, like he I don't know, it's just like I don't know, he'll run with that shit. He thinks it's funny.
He runs with the dumbest thing.
His whole little cast of yes men are like, it's just maybe the whole thing to me is just funny. I don't know.
It's like you don't laugh with him, you laugh at him. I get that if that's what you're trying to say, but
I'm gonna listen to the one in Afghanistan. She has ads. Fuck.
In the morning I see all the cameras. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm walking on.
It's a nigga that killed Osama bin Laden episode.
So far, so good.
Don't join Afghanistan with 260 veterans. Oh, let's go hard.
Start dating someone? That's about as long as it lasts.
That's right.
Once again, just get bashed.
But he's kind of redeeming himself now because he put together a pretty crazy two guests here. We got Don Jr. and we got Robert O'Neill. Bob, what do you want to introduce?
I mean, well, first of all, I think that shows that to get you guys in the same room this fast obviously shows that there's some shit going on in the world that needs to be talked about. And you guys are obviously pretty vocal, not only on social media, both of you guys are pretty vocal, but yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. I mean, first of all, for anybody that doesn't know,
Biden, nigga.
Don Jr., obviously, we know who Don Jr. is. Robert O'Neill is the man who
that's that shit.
Spent
That's a penal!
tons of time in
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
most of my adult life was at war. I joined the Navy as a Navy SEAL in 1996, and I didn't get out until 2012. And that's a lot of time and a lot of missions.
Hey, let me request a sub. Let me request a sub, bro. I don't wanna smoke this thing.
Phillips, which wasn't in Afghanistan. Bunch of tours in Iraq, and then I was on the team that killed Bin Laden. I actually killed him.
That's one thing I didn't know was the Captain Phillips. That
was one thing just to show what we can do as a country.
Oh, that nigga went to PSG.
I wasn't
He
at war. I
did
was
that
at my
by
daughter's Easter tea party at her preschool.
Don't worry, bro. We're gonna go to Barca, bro. I'm gonna reach my
Friday,
dreams.
April 10th. And we're getting ready for the long weekend. We got a call that's Captain Phillips, and we had
Oh shit.
I think 100 Navy SEAls
Pass the shit,
in the
pass the
Indian
shit, pass the
Ocean
shit.
less than 16 hours later. And then we got them on Easter Sunday because it turns out our snipers will do that. They will kill you at night on Easter Sunday. Wow, pretty dope.
Bro,
the mission that you're
go
most known
Saka.
for is obviously the
I'm
one
tired,
where
bro.
Pakistan
Pass the
surprised
shit.
in the middle of the night and killed Osama bin Laden.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to touch on that real briefly because I don't think their audience knows the full story. You've told the story millions of times.
Hey, we
Take
good
us
though.
through
We good
that
though. We
day.
good though. We good though.
The second
We
you
good
get the
though.
call that the
We
most
good though.
wanted
We got
man
tired. We gotta
on
get out of
planet
here,
Earth,
bro. I
you
didn't go
guys
party.
were talking about.
At first, they didn't tell us what was happening. They recalled us. I was in Florida, and they recalled us because we just finished a deployment to Afghanistan, so we didn't know what it was. And by recall, I mean we went back to Virginia Beach. That's where our home base was. And they started. And you guys are going to go get this thing. You're going to bring it to us.
Let's fucking go, bro. Let's fucking go,
All right,
nigga.
what is the thing?
They
You
ain't
can't tell
scoring
me.
on
Okay.
me.
What country? Can't tell you.
Hell
How we get
no.
it? I can't tell you.
Hell
How much
no.
air support? None. Okay. That's an answer.
Sounds like a great start.
Yeah, okay. Well, and it got funnier because when we worked, you know,
Oh,
Army
shit.
pilots, Air Force pararescuemen who were the
Nigga, where the tigres at,
to
nigga?
Air
Nigga, where
Force,
tigres
combat
at,
controllers,
nigga?
control
They going
radios,
back
and
home. Wait, they're already home, nigga.
Because we're saving weight. So if you knew how to
Is it a free
carry
kick or
medical
penalty?
stuff, you're our new doc.
Fuck!
You knew how to use the radio,
No,
you're
bro,
our new guy.
no.
And so we're getting
Come on,
we're
come on,
ready.
come on.
Look at this beam. We thought it was the Arab Spring had just started in northern Africa. So we assumed they found Gaddafi and we're going to go get him. And, you know, not kill him, just get him, bring him back. So we're coming up with this plan.
Fuck.
Everyone's fixing their gear to whatever they're going to carry.
After
and,
this, we can play. I'm gonna play
then they
some
said, go
seasons.
home and be
Good.
with your kids for another,
Come on.
you know,
Oh,
day and a half. And they
Oh,
come
we
back
going
and they
through.
drive you somewhere and tell you what's going on.
give me that.
And we
Give me the
started
mancos.
started going down
Beat y'all,
whatever,
fucks.
you know, the vice president might be the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Navy, all this stuff. And then one thing they said was CTC PAD, which is CIA counterterror,
Come on.
Pakistan, Afghanistan.
Come on.
And no one said
Give me that.
anything. We went home, and I was thinking to myself, if we're going to Libya, why would they be there? So then we came back. We got in vans. I'm getting to a funny story, I promise. We're driving
Give
the
me that.
vans down to North
Let her go.
Carolina. And I had 4 guys here, and I said to the guy next to me, who's my boss? I said,
Fuck.
this isn't Gaddafi. They found Bin Laden. And he looked at me and just said, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And that's when the guy in the front seat said, man, if we kill Osama Bin Laden, O'Neill, I'll suck your dick.
I'll suck any dick.
So 3 weeks to the day. Yeah, no. I did ask him about it.
Like 10
Yeah, he
years.
said, no, not yet. He's you know. But yeah, that was anyway. But then we got serious. They said this is as close as we've ever been to Osama bin Laden. Then we were serious. No,
Where is it,
high-five,
Penal?
none of that. Just can we go now? And
Nah,
we met
she's
the
a free kick.
teams,
She's a
the
free
girl
kick.
that found him and all that stuff. Trained for a few days.
I look, you wanna go to
Afghanistan
penalties.
and waited for the green
I
light.
did almost go at one
And we
goal.
launched. And we had come up with the perfect plan, rehearsed the perfect plan, 90 minutes.
Never mind. There's no need to score an own goal.
How we're gonna take the
Ah, fuck. I was just kidding.
So shouldn't be a big deal. What's the worst thing that could happen though?
I was saying, Tigres, go
Yeah,
back home. Go back home. We're
So we
crying like
started
a
off
bitch.
with a helicopter in the front yard.
Hey, it's good
The
though.
pilot
It's good
did
though.
it to save everyone.
Oh, fucking power shot. Holy shit. Look at that
23.
power shot.
23 guys, so split.
It's cool though. It's cool though.
Yeah, and then Cairo, the dog, was there too.
And Cairo the dog.
And so our plan, we were gonna
Nigga took Cairo
put
and
guys
blew my
down right in
fucking
front of Bin Laden's
dickers.
house, fast rope, everybody out. My
Imagine.
team was gonna drop
Nigga took
snipers
Cairo
and a dog
because-
outside. Then my team's going to the roof, and then we're gonna get them
Sit
that
the
way.
fuck down, pussy.
And that didn't happen. I mean, we were going to die as soon as the
Saka,
house
you
was
missed
up when
a
we got
pen,
on top.
remember?
We were
I
actually
don't
calling
forget that.
ourselves the Martyrs Brigade. Like, this is it. But the reason that we were
So you
going...
guys thought you were gonna
we knew we
die?
were going to die.
Oh my god.
House worn out.
Lad,
We were gonna
I
run out of
fucking
fuel,
love you,
and
bro.
Then, end our short lives in a Pakistani
Bro,
prison
when
war,
I'm not on the
shoot it
pitch,
out, pack meal and tell
like
the
my
world
whole team starts falling apart, bro.
there's nowhere to give anyone a hint because
Oh
there's
my
nowhere-
god,
there's
my
nowhere to go.
team's falling
Yeah.
apart.
But we accepted it because, and we talked about this. I had a guy ask me, I'm going. I just need to say it out loud. If we know we're going to die, why are we going? Which is fair. And we said, we're not going after bin Laden for the fame or for the money. We're going after Osama bin Laden for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper, because that's a better alternative than whatever in the hell is going on inside at 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Fuck no!
Decency.
No!
She was never supposed to be in the fight. We're supposed to be in the fight. That's where we're going.
When you guys got there, when you guys arrived there, though, did you know he was in the building?
I was 100% sure he was in the building because of the woman that found him. She was certain. We get done with those training days, long days of training on the site, long hours at night talking over a model, and right before we get a couple hours of sleep, she would say, "All right, guys, great day of training. Osama bin Laden is in the 3rd floor of this building right now. I don't know why we're not going."
With the tank, we can look again, see the people we miss.
Hey, I don't have YouTube Premium. My fault. My fault.
Good night.
Oh, some penales right away.
We were to the point where we weren't. There was no fear involved in this mission. Because this is what we came to do. And then you get in there, everything's
okay,
wrong.
though. It's
I
okay,
didn't know
though.
the helicopter crashed until I got inside.
No.
And someone told me the helicopter crashed. And I said, "What helicopter crashed?" And he said, "Our helicopter crashed in the front yard." Like, he walked right past it. And I'm like, "Well, I was looking this way or something, because there's bin Laden's house." And then as we're doing that,
Let's
it
go!
was over the fence. And the
Odegaard, I
sniper
love you,
dog,
baby
they were
girl.
doing a loop to make sure no one escaped.
I love you, Odegaard.
He came over the radio and said,
Fucking God.
"Hey guys inside, be on alert. They're definitely ready for us because they have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard."
Oh.
And the boss came over and said, "No, jackass, that's ours because we crashed."
What?
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than this shit I'm saying, doesn't it?
What?
Weird stuff happens
What?
in dark moments, but
Nah, that's some bullshit.
got in there and then we went up
Saka.
the stairs. The woman
Saka.
told us to leave bin Laden, who was his son, would be on this.
You fucking nigger!
She was.
You nigger, bro! You nigger, bro! You
Around
fucking
him.
nigger,
We're
bro!
down to 2 guys now going up the last set of stairs, looking up the curtain, and so there was some movement behind it. I was the number 2 man, the point man's in front of me, and he was telling me, "Now we got to go," because he could see movement. He's thinking those are the suicide bombers, but we can beat them if we go now. We have to go now because they're getting ready. And I was like, "Well, I guess this is it." And I wasn't being brave. It was more of a, "I'm gonna blow up now, and I'm tired of thinking about it. Let's just get it over with." And I squeezed him. We went up, and he went through this curtain, tackled these people, and because he went here, I have to cover his back. I went this way. There's Osama bin Laden, 3 feet away, standing on 2 feet.
Did you see him like clearly?
Yeah, I recognize his nose, his beard, how tall he was, how skinny he was, everything about him, and he's not surrendering. He's a threat, so I got to take him down. And if you're dealing with a suicide bomber, which he should have been, you shoot him in the face. And I shot him in the face twice, and then once more on the ground. And then that's it. And then we're moving his wife to the bed. His 2-year-old son was there, and for me as a father, it was like, this kid has nothing to do with this. It's just humanity. Then I'm standing there and hear Osama bin Laden taking his last breaths, and I'm sort of stunned, and a buddy came up, because there's more Navy SEALs in the room now. My buddy came up and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, what do we do now?" And he smiled and said, "Now we find the computers. Like, we do this every night. Hundreds of times you've done this." And I said, "Yeah, you're right, I'm back." "Holy shit." He said, "Yeah, you just..." Seriously.
The Champions Trophy is Mexican.
But yeah, anything that might have a list of names, pictures, anything.
All
I mean, there was
around
so
me
much stuff
are
there. It would have been nice to have
familiar
Pakistan actually be an ally. We should have
faces.
stayed in that house for at least a week.
Sucking
Gathering
a
all that. 'Cause he
fat
was running the whole show
cunt.
from there. We got some
Oh,
good
doing Spanish thing and
Another helicopter came in and flew us out, and then we had 90
European
minutes to survive getting shot down.
Chill.
And where was the safe haven where you guys were going, where it would be safe?
Afghanistan, believe it or not.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was actually weird because we're flying back and we have 90 minutes and worrying about something that is not, your worry's not going to affect, you're wasting your energy, so worrying about a missile is not going to stop it, so just chill, right? So we started our watches, we're counting down, 90 minutes we got to get, and you're looking at your friends. I got the sniper from rescuing Captain Phillips sitting next to me. He actually gave me a Copenhagen. Looking at my guys, and then, shit's been 10 minutes.
Goat.
Spent 20, spent 30 minutes.
Oh,
Spent 50 minutes.
oh, but me ain't. No, we passed it to the goat.
Like, I'm not going to say anything.
Yes, sir.
Motherfuckers pitching the no-hitter. 60 minutes, 70 minutes, 80
Ah,
minutes.
betcha.
Like the sports
Wow.
Lake Placid when the American
on,
hockey team beat the Russians.
on,
You can hear them counting down if you look it up on YouTube. Like 10, 9, 8. And then the pilot came over the radio and said, for the first time in your life, gentlemen, you're going to be happy to hear this. Welcome to Afghanistan. And that's the end of the mission. And then we showed them, and
which would no longer be the
crazy.
case today.
No, it wouldn't be safe haven. I'd rather stay in Pakistan.
So that's one of the reasons, yeah, we wanted to bring you on. We're starting this new show and stuff. I think it's crazy that we got you guys on too, you know, experts. And, like, I think just the question is, like, what the fuck is going on in Afghanistan right now? Don.
Well, I'm not an expert. I'm pretty good at talking shit and calling out the nonsense that's out there. You know what I mean? And you see so much of it these days. I mean, and, you know,
Pinche
from what I've experienced over the last 5 years, like, you know, anything my father does is wrong. Anything I do is wrong. You know, you do the Hunter Biden sort of Don Jr. analogy. I'm like, this guy's like a legitimate, just total piece of shit. He's a private guy. It's like, well, so am I. I wasn't in government. I wasn't one of the. So it's just, you know, between the media sort of functioning as a cheerleader for the other side and going to such great lengths to simply protect Joe Biden and the Democrats. I mean, you know,
fuck
this
the
guy's
Democrats.
like mashed potatoes
Fuck
for
Biden,
brains.
nigga.
You see that? You know, he
Trump
comes out, he's on vacation
2027, nigga.
while the world's burning. Imagine Donald Trump as
fuck Biden. Who the fuck is? Someone's calling me. Motherfucker got the wrong number, bro. Fucking weird.
Afghanistan fell. By the way, as Afghanistan fell, while they pulled out our troops, but left between 10 and 40, and they don't even know, 1,000 Americans in Afghanistan. Now Taliban control. I can watch the meltdown. It'd actually be nice because, like, they'd have such big aneurysms that there'd be none of this, like, ridiculous media left. Like, they would explode in their outrage. Joe Biden's on vacation. Like, I'm surprised he didn't do his speech from an ice cream shop the other day, because it seems all he's capable of. So, you know, it's hard to believe that it doesn't exist, that someone's willing to call out the bullshit when it exists. And
Why do you think that is?
I created a niche.
Why do you think that is? That's Dana, when we did Dana. Like, why is the media so against the right? Like, is it about money? Is it, like,
you know, I
why
think
are
they're
they
just
so against it?
They're active. You see it in school, right? They're activists. If you're going into journalism, that's your mindset.
Yeah,
and
they fucking hate right, bro. They want that. They want to spread that wrong shit. They want to spread devil shit, bro. They want to spread satanic shit, bro.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Rob, because like,
shit, that shit
and we do have to
wrong
make
as
the
hell,
distinction
bro.
between guys like this, the
Shit
door
for-
kickers
that
that are
shit's
actually
gay
kicking
as
ass,
hell.
and like the generals that are saying,
right.
I really want to learn
Two
about
genders
white
for a
race.
reason, nigga.
You know,
Two genders for a
difference
reason,
too,
nigga.
having shooters on the ground fighting the enemy, Al Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, seeing the difference between them, and then, like, show me a 4-star general, and I'll show you 14 people kissing his ass all around him, just telling him exactly what he wants to hear.
Give me that.
He can have his job.
Well, and he wants
What?
to board seat at
That was clean.
corporate America.
Put it in
And
my
so
cock
they
when I
want
put
to
it
keep
on
us
my
in
ass.
these wars indefinitely because,
come on.
like,
What's
hey,
up?
listen,
What's
they're
up?
not making a lot
What's
of money
up?
now, and that's their
What's up? Where you
retirement
at?
plan. But like,
Where you at?
they're also costing
Where
the
you at?
American taxpayer trillions. They're costing guys like Rob their lives and limbs. You know, so we can stay in a war to get a board seat at
Give me that.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Give me that.
What they're doing.
So someone has to call it out. And like to your point, like, dude, like.
Give me that.
I was always
What's up?
conservative, but I was never political.
Give me
The
that.
fact that there's such a vacuum of, you know, people that are just not willing to speak up.
Give me that.
I've created a name for myself within politics. Just
Or give me that.
hey, is anyone called
Give me
that?
that. Yes, sir.
How insane is that?
That's what I mean.
It's
Like,
scary.
what is the reason? Like, why? What motivation does Twitter have to, like, remove the
I
president?
think there's got to be personal power somewhere.
Like, is it
Because,
about money?
Give me
there are
that.
a lot of people on television and politics that are blatantly lying, and it's got to be for kickbacks. It has to be. I can't figure it out. I don't know why. I don't want to say someone specifically hates their country. They got to be getting money on the back end. Someone is.
Well,
Because
there's
Twitter will
also
say-
virtue signaling. There's like a reward.
Give me that.
If you're
Ah.
liberal and you come out and you attack the conservatives,
Give me that.
hey, like, it's the Colin Kaepernick shit.
Come
right?
on.
Like, you get a
Come on.
sneaker deal, or
Give me
you
that.
hate your country, great. We're gonna put
What?
that. You're the face of Subway
I took this
sandwich now.
shit, bro.
Like, it's become cool to be woke, and there's a way to monetize
bro.
it.
When I tell you, give me that, you give me that, bro.
If you come out as a conservative, everyone out there is attacking you. So there's no upside. So
where we landing at? Where we landing at?
Selling some of this crap. They don't believe it because I know them. But it's like, well, you know, it's the path to making a couple of bucks.
Let's go! I blocked.
To risk taking the hits. That's the difference.
I blocked them, bro.
So like, I'll take the hits.
So an anchor on like CNN is just gonna follow the narrative just because they don't want to lose their jobs. Like what you're saying, like everyone's doing it.
But they got there through years of indoctrination. And you see it in our school systems. I mean, you see it in some of these like.
Give me that, bro. Give me that. When I tell you, give me that, you give me that, bro.
They're doing whatever they can to push some of the crazy aspects of the left, and I'm not even talking about.
Give me that, bro. When I tell you, give me that, you give me that. Bro.
And liberals.
You give me that cock, you give me that cock, bro. Holy shit.
Stuff. And it's like they're proud that they're indoctrinating kids to make sure that they never see another side. And if you see another side or bring it up, you know, it's over.
And
so, you know, they've just sort of taken over and grabbed a hold of all these institutions. I mean, I think conservative values are generally like, hey, live and let live. You know, turn the other cheek. You know, that's been great.
That's clean.
But like,
that's clean. That's clean.
I mean, we've seen it every cultural institution, even sports. I mean, you know, woke sports is a thing. And now I know a lot of players, you know, whether it's MLB, NFL, NHL, like, probably not as much NBA, but like, they are out and they can't even imagine like what's going on. They're like, I can't believe I got to go to work and push this bullshit. And yet it's jammed down their throat. And they know there is a very real consequence. I'm sure you've had this conversation, Bob. But like,
give me that.
Quick question. Back to excuse me, Afghanistan. Yes. So obviously we're watching this episode tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's pretty significant what's going on. Roger's been there. Take us through, first of all, two things. What happened in Afghanistan, for those who don't know, and what is going on right now currently as we speak?
People make mistakes all the time, and a lot of successes are because of mistakes you made. You're learning from them. You know, you can Monday morning quarterback anything. I personally think we should have pulled out mostly out of Afghanistan around 2004, 2005, because we kind of had it won. We hadn't heard of an improvised explosive device, roadside bombs yet. But bad decisions are made. They wanted to surge. They like people. Their guys on the ground like me were saying, we live in a house in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. We know our neighbors. We give the kids candy. We get kebabs at the stand in the middle of town, which is unheard of, especially today. We don't need a bunch of scared young Americans driving around up armored vehicles, running people over just because they're here. Regardless of your intention, you'll be seen as an occupier. So that's the first mistake. We do need to keep a base, especially Jalalabad airfield, which is was really nice. And Bagram, which is, I mean, Bagram is, it's so fortified you can defend it forever, and you can have pilots out bombing caravans and back in time, literally carrying and green bean coffee. Like, that's what the place was like. Speed limits and paved roads.
Give me that,
keep those two open just for the cross-border up. We know Al-Qaeda is in Pakistan. They're not in Afghanistan. We came here to fight Al-Qaeda, not the Taliban, like it or not. Just keep these here. We can hit them with drones. You know, people started getting mad about that too. Oh, you're killing them with drones. What? You know what? Yes. Sorry, we can't kill people nice enough for you. But, you know, we stayed there. We did get bin Laden in 2011, and we, you know, it did need to start being scaled back, which is happening. And an unfortunate truth is we were going to have to negotiate with the Taliban eventually. That's just the way that part of the country works. We tried to give them schools and democracy. They don't want it. They want their valleys. That's it. So we have to start that. You certainly do not drop the keys and leave overnight. That's the problem. Complete chaos because... I mean, it's almost to the point where, okay, are you stupid or are you incompetent? And if you're the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's the highest-ranking military officer, if you told him to pull out, you should be fired. If you told him not to pull out, he didn't listen, you should resign. Where we lived, and I mean, a lot of Americans, a lot of the coalition forces over there, they screwed up this bad, they died, or they got fired. You don't just don't show up for the press brief because you're in the basement.
And I think that's where, I think we all probably as Americans agreed that it was time to get out of Afghanistan, but there's a way to do it. And that's what everyone's saying. Well, Trump was going to try to pull out. It's like, yeah, Trump negotiated with the Taliban because you had to be in the room. Joe Biden has not yet spoken to a world leader. It's been like 5 days. Another world leader, like he's on vacation and checked out. Trump had conditions to the withdrawal. You heard Pompeo maybe on the news the other night, like, X, Y, Z. You know, if those guys were coming out in these single roads that they've now blockaded coming into Kabul, Trump would have been droning the hell out of them.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Biden, no conditions, no nothing. And again, he pulled out our military before he got rid of the civilians. There's a difference. You can be in agreement that it was time to get out.
Yes.
You can even be in agreement that some things could be, it's never going to be great and the Taliban would always be there, but you can also say the execution was ridiculous.
Why did I retry?
It's the fighting season because, we were going to pull out in late spring when it's still cold, people are fighting, they're getting through a rough winter. In the middle of August is literally the worst time, but Joe Biden wanted ownership. He wanted to be the guy that said, I did this.
I did this on
so
9/11.
he delayed it. I did it on 9/11. He wanted the photo op. It was like Kamala going to the border. She was 1,000 miles away from the border where the real crisis is happening, but, the media will cover her. Look, she's doing her job. She's next in line. She's definitely going to be the next president. First female president. Rah! She was 900 miles away from the actual crisis, the point in McAllen. It was the same thing. Joe Biden wanted that photo op. He wanted to go down as this, so he changed what Trump had sort of negotiated. The other difference is the Taliban looked at Trump and realized, okay, we're not going to be trifle with that guy. They watched Joe Biden give press conferences from an ice cream shop, and they're like, yeah, we can fuck with that guy. He's not going to do anything. He's just a weak guy. And the one thing these guys understand, I would think, and Rob, you can speak to this better, is strength.
Oh, easily. The Taliban are tough fighters. They were scared shitless of Bagram Airfield. Scared to death. And that's the first thing you give up.
What is that? What is it?
Bagram Airfield is a Russian airfield that we built up. I mean, to the point of comedy, where I'm not kidding about karaoke night and Green Bean.
They have it wasn't bad. Thick runways, so you can literally land
anything,
the moon,
anything there. Yeah. And you got to figure, so that there's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 airstrips, jets everywhere, bombers everywhere, pilots, aircrew, security, Marines, soldiers. Everything is right there. And you got to figure, you have Bagram Airfield, you have access, a footprint for Russia, for Iran, for China. Who's going to take it, by the way? Watch and see. Oh, and the Taliban won't fuck with China. You know why? Because China will kill you. And we're at the point now where we're saying, well, the Taliban are assuring us they're going to allow safe passage of civilians to the airport. On what fucking planet are you living in? First of all,
they're going to honor women's rights. That was the one I saw today.
Horrifying.
Really? The same people that throw gays off buildings, that enslave and rape women and children on a daily basis, they're going to honor women's rights. But more important, the Taliban yesterday, they called out Joe Biden, be like, well, Joe Biden gave this speech and he left. We're here answering questions. They called out Facebook and big tech you guys are the ones suppressing free speech. We're here answering questions. And as much as I don't want to give the Taliban credit for anything, they're not wrong. That's how insane our world has gotten.
It's backwards.
It's like the Taliban is calling us out for being oppressive.
Yes, the Taliban call us oppressive.
I mean, it's, you're living in the Matrix, but they're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong. One thing funny, though, just to get a little humor in there, someone did send me a picture of those dudes in the weight room that we just gave back, and he's on the treadmill. They're like, so what's this guy doing on the treadmill? I was like, well, based on what I know of these people, he's trying to figure out a way to either eat it or fuck it.
Got it. So what's so 3.5 years? So there's 3.5 years left of Biden, right?
Yeah.
So what's the play? So
think about that. I mean, if you look at our border, right? Humanitarian crisis. You have kids in cages. We didn't build the cages, but it was a really big deal that there were a couple kids in cages. Now you have kids in cages that are 700, 1,000% overflowing, right? COVID positive up to 18, 19% statistic I read, and they're just releasing them into McAllen, Texas. Again, if it were Trump, what would they be saying? Just like Obama built the cages, but that was not a problem. Trump using those cages, a huge problem. Joe Biden getting them and having them at overflow capacity in the middle of a pandemic, sick, and releasing them into society, not a problem. Just like if you're in New York right now, you need a vaccine passport to go to work, to go to dinner, to go out. But if you're COVID positive in McAllen, Texas, they'll just release you into society and you can go do whatever you want. It's an honor system. Just try not to go near anyone. Do you think that's going to work? I mean, there's just a hypocrisy that is just so flagrant these days.
But they said that COVID wasn't real.
And yet, no one's calling
but I'm still
it out.
Republican.
That's why, I've been able to create a decent presence on social media because I'm one of the guys. Again, hey, Rob's done a great job of that.
Thank you.
And by the way, he calls out, the bullshit on both sides. And by the way, even I do too, because I mean, there's plenty of these establishment Republicans that I'm like, guys, you go and you wax poetic, when you're at a fundraiser talking conservative stuff, and then you go to D.C. and you fold so that some douchebag at Politico doesn't write a mean article about
my fault.
That's not who I want representing.
Because he's black.
Values, and I want resolve, not sound bites and talking
I think it's
points.
because he's black.
One thing I want to know is like how much authority does Biden have when it comes to like pulling those troops out? Like, is that all his decision?
Yeah, it can be with the commander in chief. He's the commander of all the forces. And like I said, if the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and National Security Advisor says one thing, the president can say, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this. But there should have been. I hope there were people around him saying this is a horrible idea. Because it's not gonna end well, and if we can't get our 10,000 Americans out, we're jumping troops back in.
Well, it seems like some of the stuff I've read is that people were advising him, like, don't change the existing plan. You know what I mean? Make sure there's conditions. But again, he wanted to change it to make it his own. He wanted to get the full credit for that. So now he owns that.
I want to reset this shit.
He's gonna own it forever. It's worse than the fall of Saigon. All he had to do was keep Vladimir.
What was the move then? Like what? Because I know I don't think we were spending a lot of money there anymore, right? We didn't have a lot of people there.
We didn't have a combat death in over 18 months. And,
safer than Chicago.
Yeah, that's what I said.
My father said it last night, and he goes, hey, when I left Afghanistan, when I left my thing, for 18 months prior to that, or whatever it was, there was not a single American casualty in Afghanistan, which is significantly safer than Chicago, New York, or any of our big cities.
So what was this rush then? Like, it seems like there must have been something else
politics.
to it.
He wants to own it. It's politics. I mean, if Joe Biden would have said, we're pulling out, this is my call, and we pulled out and everything was great, it's like, well, shit, awesome. But nobody thought that was going to happen. No one with it. I mean, of course, nowadays up is down, down is up. Like, if you tell the truth, you can get fired. And people just don't like the truth. They just want to say, yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. The Taliban won't take it. And they said, no, and even the bullshit about, oh, we have some tough Afghan fighters that we train. Look, you train them for 20 years. They're twice the size of the Taliban. They lost in 3 days. Someone's not fucking fighting.
Well, did you see the video I put up on my Instagram? Like, I mean, it was literally, we spent $88 billion just on training. And you're watching these guys try to do jumping jacks. Like, check it out on my Instagram. It's literally laughable. Like, it's you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
It's absolutely ludicrous. You spent $88 billion. And again, it's just being cycled back into the other than they peddle influence.
So what right now, back to Afghanistan, what is going on right now as we speak? So we have soldiers there that are trying to evacuate Americans and Afghans?
Yeah, the Taliban had been planning this in mostly Quetta, Pakistan for the past 15 years, what they're going to do. And the plan, well, they didn't assume Bagram would fall, but that worked out well for them. So then they can surround, it's called Hamid Karzai International Airport. Maybe not anymore at this point, because they're going to rename it. But they're going to surround it, and now they have everyone trapped in the cities. They can't get into the airport to leave. So there's Taliban checkpoints everywhere. And, I just on the front cover of I think the New York Post today, there's someone getting hacked to death with a machete outside of an ATM.
Well, they actually put out, they said yesterday, I did a little, sort of like Rumble Facebook video on it. They literally put out a press release saying, like, get to Hamid Karzai Airport. Right. And well, but they said they resumed flights, and in the last 24 hours, they had gotten something like 600 to 700 people out. So play it out. If they're getting 600 to 700 people out in a 24-hour cycle, and there could be up to 40,000 people, you're going to spend 2 months evacuating Americans? What do you think is going to happen? Like the Taliban, I understand the press is giving them a lot of attention. They're giving the Taliban a bigger platform than my father, the former president of the United States, who's not allowed to be on social media. Yeah. What happens when the beheadings start? Because you know they're going to start.
Oh, they've already started.
All right, so
what happens when the raping starts?
When they do, though, and that's something that we see on our end, and we see those
My fucking cat.
Well, they're going to control their media and... You know, they will.
It'll happen. We won't see it.
Yeah, the Taliban's
it's happening.
Who do have a verified Twitter account, by the way. They won't put it on their Twitter account.
They have a verified Twitter account?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they?
No, the Taliban spokesman. I mean, it's a designated terrorist organization, and like they have it, but Donald Trump's not allowed to be on Twitter because he sent a couple mean tweets. And I will say, you know what? Looking at the world right now, I would take $1.85 gas, peace in the Middle East, a secure border, a booming economy, etc., 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 in exchange for a couple mean, but probably also true in most cases, tweets.
That's true. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But that's not the way we. That's
mean
not the
tweets.
world
That's
we live
where we were. Mean tweets.
But the Taliban right now are basically like, "Hey, we're going to comply with you guys." Correct?
Well, see, they know the world's watching them now.
Yeah.
And you know, who knows? They might let Americans out, but once they have control, I mean, they have it now in spots that we can't see. And these are not good people. These are as brutal as they get. These guys are as bad as ISIS. They'll burn you alive. They'll, you know, depending on the age of your daughters, these ones get their heads cut off. These ones are sex slaves. You know, this one gets hung at the Coliseum. You know, that's what they do. And these are just bad people. But they've been gearing up for this. They've been seething at this, and they're there.
Well, and they know how our media works, right? So they know how to give them exactly what they want to get the cover. You know, it's like when Putin says, like, well, what happened to Ashley Babbitt? Putin could care less about what happened to Ashley Babbitt in the Capitol, but it's a way of calling out the hypocrisy, and he knows the media is going to jump. It's like when China starts saying, well, that's not really woke. I mean, you got to, like, China doesn't even share. Like, they literally are committing genocide against the Uyghur Muslims in China. They're enslaving people. They have death camps. They don't care, but they know how to manipulate our media, and they're just acting like a puppet master so that our media goes after ourselves, and we end up eating our own. We eat our own, and that's how they gain leverage on a world stage.
What do you think your father would have done differently? Because these guys kind of surprised them, right?
Well, listen, like I said, Pompeo's talked about it the other night in terms of the details. Like, you know, there were conditions to this thing. They weren't going to do it at a time, you know, during the summertime when, you know, the Taliban, they're literally bored. They got nothing to do but fight. You know, we've
been calling it the fighting season. We've known it every year since 2001. They fight in the summer, and then the winter sucks.
Yeah, the winter sucks. They go high. You know, things are calmer, so you can do it. So you don't have this massive surge. You would have been droning the shit out of the, you know, the highways coming in. I mean, there were just caravans and convoys. It'd be like the original Iraq War, right? You'd get a, you know, get an A-10 and just run down the line, you know, shooting depleted uranium at these things, and you could take out, you know, tens of thousands. There would have been real conditions. There would have been fear in the back of the mind of these guys saying, like, hey, you know, I'm going to get nuked on this road going in there.
Where's your mom? Run!
The same way, it would have given the Afghan fighting forces, if they wanted to actually fight, you know, a chance, because it wouldn't just be this deluge, this onslaught at once. But again, Joe Biden changed that plan because he wanted credit on the world stage. He's so not there that he figured, hey, if I do this, it'll go great. I can take credit for this. And now he owns it.
So what consequences is this going to have now in the West?
Look, what do you think? If you're sitting in Taiwan right now, what do you think's happening? What do you think happened in the last week to sort of, you know, the notion of being an American
Joe Biden's
ally?
fault.
You're an American ally. We just abandoned, you know, 40,000 Americans up to, possibly, you know, in Afghanistan. What do you think Taiwan's thinking? Whatever China's timeline, and there is a timeline for taking over Taiwan, it just accelerated 1,000 times because they're going around saying, see, you can't rely on America. Like, we just made ourselves so weak on a world stage that I don't think the average person can fathom it. I mean, if you're an ally of the U.S., we just told all of them, like, we're there with you, but we're not really there with you. Like, when the shit hits the fan, we are leaving and tucking tail.
Well, our strength has been a triage of forward defense, deterrence, and alliance solidarity, and that's how you can win. You can win without firing a shot. But once we lose our allies like this, I mean, it's like they don't trust us. I wouldn't trust us. I would not be an interpreter anywhere for the United States right now.
Yeah, and if you're in Taiwan and you're talking about that, like, you know what, China, come on in. You know, if you're in any one of the places that China's essentially trying to colonize around the world, they'd be like, you know what, we'll take their money, we'll take the briefcase of cash they're getting us onto the table. The Americans, you know, they got to play by different rules. They're not going to, like,
I hope he doesn't even wake up.
They've done with rare earth minerals. It's what they've done with everything, and that's their plan. And that was going to happen probably one way or the other because they're actually, you know, they're smart and they don't play by rules. Meaning, you know, they don't care about political niceties. You know, they're not trying to please anyone. They could care less. They have one mission and one mission alone, and they're able to think beyond 2 weeks from now when we have our next elections and say, this is where we want to be in 100 years, and this is how we get there, and everything else doesn't matter. We don't think that way. We're so short-sighted. We make stupid decisions
How is
so we can
Lewandowski
have a win for next week so that we can get reelected, continue to keep power, get that board seat in the future. You know, America's future be damned. I mean, we've leveraged the shit out of our country. You know, our children's futures are screwed because we just, hey, what's another couple $1 trillion? Joe Biden, you know, a couple $1 trillion to teach critical race theory, you know, and woke bullshit to our children. Who cares? It's infrastructure because everything's infrastructure. You know, your sneakers are now infrastructure, Bob. Like, that's what we've gotten, and they don't care because it's not their money. But it allows them to keep power, and it allows them to then later make money again. And that's why my dad got involved in this in the first place. He was like, listen, I'm a business guy. Like, he's been watching this shit pissed off for decades. And now you're seeing, because you said it right? We're only 7 months in. Like, we've got 2 humanitarian crises, right? The border, unquestionably. Again, you don't have the coverage because the media is one way, but it's a crisis. Afghanistan, serious crisis. Inflation, serious crisis. I mean, we're gonna destroy the middle class of this country. And then, you know, by the way, the next crisis is going to be the refugee crisis. And, you know, there are definitely some great people probably in Afghanistan, and there are people that we have no idea what their intentions are. You know, I have friends in the Border Patrol. I mean, for the last few months, he's like, hey, like a good percentage, and I don't mean like 1 or 2, I mean like significant double-digit percentage are like, yeah, they're guys from the Middle East coming in. Like, they just see it. It's a porous border. Now, if you're a Cuban refugee who's being shot at by your government,
you stay put.
You're not allowed in the country. We don't want you because the Democrats in power don't want someone who's maybe against communism and socialism, which is where they're ultimately trying to push something. So if you're a Cuban refugee seeking asylum, and actually, like, deserving asylum, not like, I just want to come to America for the free shit, which is what you see a lot, you know, at the southern border, but people who are actually getting shot at by an oppressive regime that's jailing them for simply wanting freedom and for speaking out against the government, they're not allowed in because they've experienced what socialism and communism does. And, you know, so this is one of the things I talk about a lot, and media goes crazy, goes like, what do you know about it? Well, I know about it because my mother escaped it. You know, my mother was from communist Czechoslovakia. She escaped because she was a good athlete. She was an Olympic skier, and so she got to Canada and then came into the U.S. legally and, like, wasn't ever going back. And I remember as a kid, you know, I saw my parents, like, with their wedding picture. I was like, well, why is my grandfather there but not my grandmother? And they basically explained it was like, well, like, they wouldn't let them both out of the country because they knew if they both got out of the country, no one was ever coming back. So I'm like, sounds like a wonderful system. Let's bring it here. Fortnite. I experienced that. It's sort of probably indirectly, meaning I didn't know it at the time, but it was probably how I sort of became a conservative because as a kid, when they got to come to America and saw what we had here, and the freedoms that we have and all this shit.
Put it in my budget. Wait, I want to see when was the last time I streamed. It was like over 2 weeks ago. Shit. That shit was a week ago. Oh my. Yeah, but I'm not gonna be streaming no more. Fuck YouTube. Fuck, they banned me.